Good evening, everyone. How are you guys? It's Thursday night. You may be quarantined in your house, but you are not quarantined from watching painting lives 24/7 right now. So you guys are live here on the Dixie Belle Paint Facebook page with Brushed by Brandy. My name is Brandy, and I'm a Dixie Belle Paint brand ambassador. I am out of Sacramento, California, and I'm stuck in my house too. With 3 kids, mind you. So I've become a homeschool mom in the last week. That's been fun. We can talk about that tonight. But I come here live every Thursday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern to paint with you guys, and we're going to paint tonight. So my husband Sean is here, you guys. If you have questions, pop on and let me know, and we'll answer those as we go. And I usually like to share with you guys what project I'm working on. So if you follow my page at Brushed by Brandy, you guys remember that, well, it's probably been a couple months ago, I did a purple vanity, a plum color vanity, and it was incredibly popular. And it was beautiful. I absolutely loved it. It was just me playing around. Well, I've got orders for 2 more, so that's what we're doing. But I didn't get a chance with that one to do the paint with you guys on camera, so I'm going to paint with you guys on camera in that finish. That's what we're going to do tonight. So if you like that purple vanity, you know which one I'm talking about, go to my page and scroll back through and you'll find it. But that's what we're working on tonight. So I wanted to talk to you guys about a couple things before we get started on our paint. Number 1, we're going to come up and do the top on this really quick. So this finish has a wood stain top, and I want to talk to you guys about clear coating over a wood stain top. So wood stain tops are actually easier, in my opinion, to clear coat because you've got the wood grain. So if you get any mild streaking, the wood grain actually really helps camouflage it as your friend. So I love a wood stain top for a whole bunch of reasons. Another tip I'm going to give you is if you want to put gator hide on your wood stain top. So gator hide is Dixie Belle's toughest clear coat. It's great for pieces that are going to get heavy use, like dresser tops, dining tables, things like that. If it's just the body of your piece, these don't get a whole lot of use. But my recommendation, even if you want to use gator hide on a top, is to put a coat of satin clear on beforehand. And that's what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to put my satin clear over a wood stain top. The reason that I do that is because gator hide sets up really fast. So if you combine a really fast setup with a porous surface, so whether it's porous paint or porous wood, those two make it even harder. That paint is going to suck up the gator hide rapid fast, and the gator hide is going to set up with its usual quick setup time. And together, it's going to make it really hard to not overwork that gator hide. So I like to put a coat of satin clear on first, and then I can come back with my gator hide over the top, and then I get the protection of the gator hide, and I don't have to struggle with that rapid fast setup time. So I'm going to pop up.
So really quick, Jason
Yes.
wants to know, are you mixing the paint? Because he's kind of curious as far as what the ratio is. No?
I already mixed my paint because it did take me a little bit, but I'm going to talk to you guys about that too. So I'll show you my process, but I do already have it mixed. So this piece is on wheels, which makes it easy. Why don't we put our furniture on wheels anymore? The top of this, I posted on this week that I had stripped it down using my Surf Prep sander. I used a 100 grit pad and I sanded this all the way through. The reason I did that, I usually like to chemically strip. Number 1, I'm learning my Surf Prep sander and I wanted to see what it would do. Number 2, I'm really hating all of the new formulations of strippers. They just are not the same.
Here, hold on. I got to stop. I got to say hi to my BFF, Peggy.
Oh, yeah. You guys carry on. Don't mind me. Sorry.
And Fireball June says it's her birthday.
Hey, Fireball! Happy birthday! I hope you're out celebrating or stuck at Target.
We're going to need an ID just to verify that it's her birthday.
So this is my satin clear coat. Now, satin clear coat is almost the consistency of a gel, but it's the easiest clear coat to put on. It's the easiest. So this is my Dixie Belle Applicator Sponge, and I got it damp. Now, I've dampened it enough that there's no water is going to wring out of it, but I like to dampen it because the sponge is going to absorb whatever you put on it. It's a sponge. So if I put water in there first, it keeps this from absorbing a gallon of clear coat into the sponge to have enough to wipe on. with the dampness in the sponge, it'll just hold it on the surface with the water inside the actual sponge.
So Natalia's watching. Say hi.
Hey Natalia, how are you?
And then a very important question: are those new overalls?
I don't know. I have 300 pairs of overalls.
Well,
are these new? They're less raggedy than the other pairs.
Some look like you were dragged behind a car. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one was because I was painting last night and I caught my knee on the license plate of my car.
Oh yeah.
And it tore the whole leg of the pants. So these are less raggedy than those, if that counts.
Now they're on a raggedy scale.
So I'm going to do it right out of the container because this is a brand new container right here. You can pour this into a separate bowl. And I just top the applicator sponge in my satin clear coat. Now this piece I stained with Dixie Belle No Pain Gel Stain in Espresso. And that gave me this nice, rich, deep stain color. So then I'm just going to start at one end and I'm going to just wipe this on. Now the satin clear coat goes on with kind of a bluish tint. It will dry clear. And on edges, especially like this, I'm just looking to make sure I don't want to have parts that are gathered up in crevices. So I put it on and then I'll come back and clean them off. Because this is the satin clear, I can wipe over it. It's got more working time than Gator Hide does.
Oh, we got a few chiming in from Australia.
Hey guys! Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wipe on these edges right here, and then I'm going to come in and do the center. And the whole time I'm just making sure that all my passes, I don't have areas that are gummed up. So that looks really clean. And then I'm going to refill my sponge. And I'm going to come on and wipe it on. And I'll wipe back over it because I want to make sure that I don't have a streaky application.
There we go.
If your clear coat is streaky going on, it's going to look streaky when it dries. So doing this, I will come back and put Gator Hide over the top of this, but I'm sealing this raw wood with my satin clear first. And that way when I put my Gator Hide on, I'm not trying to put on a product that sets up really quick over a porous surface. It'll be a sealed surface and it makes the Gator Hide easier to apply. And see, I can brush back over the satin. The satin's super easy. Like, I love the satin. If you're a beginner and you're just starting out to paint, you can wipe this. I'm doing this over a wood surface, but you can wipe this over your painted surface just the same way.
So what kind of stain was this?
So this was Dixie Belle No Pain Gel Stain in Espresso, which I love. They just came out with a new formulation of the No Pain Gel Stains, and I absolutely love them. They're creamy and rich, and I even used them for aging the other night, like you would use a dark wax, and it performed beautifully. I'll be showing that on camera, but that was a little bit of me playing around and learning the product, and I really liked how it performed for aging. So I have a plan for that.
Oh, Lorraine over in the UK. It's her birthday today too.
Happy birthday, everybody!
What the heck?
I'm sorry you guys are all stuck inside. This is your party. Surprise! Happy birthday!
Wah, wah, wah.
We invited all your closest painting friends. Okay, now I'm just going around making sure I have even coverage. So I want you to look at this. It's even all the way across. I don't have heavy spots where my sponge stopped, because with the satin you're able to brush those out. So it looks smooth going on. Now I'm going to let this dry. It's porous wood, so it's going to soak this up and dry rapid fast for this first coat. We might even get to a second coat while I'm on tonight. But I'm going to let this hang out. I'm going to put the lid on my satin, and we're going to move on. When I'm doing a wood stain top, I always like to do my wood top before I work on my paint. And that is, I'm just catching this front edge right here because I was standing behind it. I didn't get all the coverage on this front edge that I want. And this is going to dry rapid fast while I'm painting. This first coat always dries rapid fast. You're putting it onto an open surface.
Karen says thanks. She likes to call her thanks for coming on in these trying times, but what else are we going to do?
Oh, sorry, are you bored? Did I bore you? No, that was my tip for tonight. That's all, I'm done. Is put satin clear under your Gator Hide. It will save you a lot of heartache, trust me. Okay, now we're going to talk about this purple finish because I know it looks boring right now. This is just my base coat. And with my base coat, I like to just conceptualize my finish. On this one, I didn't really have to because I know the finish. I've already done it before. I'm just kind of repeating myself. But I want to talk to you guys about mixing colors. So for this piece, I know that this was done in colors that I mixed myself.
I'll come to you.
So what I do is I have this, it's just a little sketchbook. And if I flip to the back, it's just got blank pages. So what I do is I paint on a sample of my color. And then last night when I was mixing, I just could take my finger in my mixed paint and let it dry. And I can either go over the top of my sample or on here I did it next to. And this is 2 colors that I mixed. So I have it labeled with what my mix is. And then as I'm mixing, I can go through and give myself a sample, let it dry, and see how close I am to the color I'm after. So that's what I do with this little sketchbook. And then if I start filling this up where I've touched it too many times with samples, I can just go to another page with a new mix and put it in there. But I want to show you guys. I can see it. I don't know if you're going to be able to. Down here, right here, is where I touched my mix. See how close I was able to get? But I went through right here in this little corner. But I went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different examples. These are a little bit too dark, you know, so I would add a little bit more of another color. Same thing up here. Up here, this is my mixed color. It's stuck to the front cover, so it's got white on it. But up here in this corner is my mixed color. And that was 1, 2, 3 tries to get that. All I did is take this darker color, which is a mix of aubergine, muscadine wine, and tea rose is my darker. And I added more tea rose to get the lighter color. So 2 colors, just a different shade by adding heavier on one of the colors. So that's what I do for mixed colors. That way I can come back and test my mixes and see that I'm getting it the same.
I think that book it's got all of my ideas throughout life in it.
Yes, this is worth $1 million right
flip
here.
through it again, it's all blank. My thought process.
So I've got 2 mixes. Now you'll see that they're in Dixie Belle containers, and the reason is because I wash out all my, well, not all of them. If they're not super encrusted with old paint, I'll wash out my Dixie Belle containers, and I use them to hold custom color mixes. So this is my lighter color. And then this is my darker color.
It sure says in a little black book.
Yep, everything you need to know right there. That's how to paint in 2 easy steps right there. If you guys could get your hands on that book. I'm kidding. It's just color mixes. So this finish, I used 3 colors on it. And I used my mix of muscadine, aubergine, and tea rose. And then my lighter version with the extra tea rose. And then I also am going to use midnight sky. So, you guys can see what I have here is my first base coat. I am going to put on my final coat tonight. So you guys see me do base coats a lot. This is going to be my second coat, which is my final coat. It takes a little bit longer. I may rework areas a couple times. Before I start putting paint on, I do run just my Dixie Belle sanding sponge over the top. And that just brushes away the chalky finish on the paint. It's not even a real sanding. You can see how quickly this goes. I'm looking at my top right here, and except for this front crevice that is a little bit heavy, which I could even brush out with a brush, except for this front crevice right here, like this is dry.
And then how many layers will you put on that, roughly, on the top?
On the top, gosh, on wood tops, you guys, I honestly usually do 4 or 5 coats. I forgot my mister bottle. Where's my mister?
Oh, I can't take you anywhere.
I know. You don't. Yeah, you really can't take me anywhere. Hang on, guys. I forgot my mister bottle. Somewhere. Yeah. Okay, so we're just gonna lay some paint on here. So. I just went over that with my Dixie Belle sanding sponge, and now I'm going to wipe off the sanding dust, and I'll do that. I'll continue to do that as we go. I just can't reach the rest of this. So I'm going to focus here on this side. And this is super smooth, you guys. I have barely any brush strokes in this. It's going to be a beautiful finish.
Deb says, we're a hoot to watch. Well, you are.
Yeah, because they can't watch you.
Yeah.
I don't allow him to be in front of the camera.
I don't want to bore anybody.
For obvious reasons. I'm going to do this, sand this side really quick too.
Really quick, you want to throw over the colors again?
So my darker color on here, this is a mix. And it's Dixie Belle, aubergine, muscadine wine, and tea rose. I would say the aubergine and muscadine are about 50-50. And then just a little tiny bit of tea rose, just enough to lighten it and give it that dusty color is all the tea rose is for. So not a lot of tea rose, but the lighter color is where I went heavier on the tea rose. So this is probably a 1-to-1-to-1 ratio here.
I'm confused.
Equal parts, sorry. This is probably, the lighter color is probably equal parts of the three colors, and this is lighter on the tea rose. So that's where we are. So I'm going to start laying this on. I've got a bunch of brushes out here. The brushes I like to use for laying my paint on is my Dixie Belle Mini. So I've got a few of those out. And then I like to blend with my oval medium. Mwah. All you need in life right here.
Huh?
All you need.
What?
I love you, oval medium. You're everything to me.
Are they in the black book?
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to start with what I want to be my dominant color, which is this darker custom plum color. And I'm going to add a little bit of water. The water is just to help my paint glide over the surface. This is the second coat. I already have all my wood covered. I already have full coverage. So all I'm using this second coat for is to perfect my blending. It's not for coverage, so I don't need very much paint. I use very, very little paint, you guys, on my second coat. And I will take these drawers out after we get off camera. Give myself a little bit more water because I didn't get down here. And brush that paint in. And then the water, Dixie Belle's a self-leveling paint, so the water helps your paint level out, and I will get no brush strokes in that finish right there.
So see, you change your hairstyle up a little bit, and people start looking. Yeah, hey, did you get it cut?
I straightened my hair. You guys might notice that. I did straighten it. So it looks less raggedy today. I have naturally curly hair, you guys. That's the secret. And I do have to get my hair straightened. So, so there's that. That's the one high maintenance thing I do. Oh. Yeah, the one. That's the only one. Right?
Oh, yeah. Hold on, let me get the list down. Yeah. Comes on a scroll.
So I'm going to go ahead and put this darker color all over. And all I'm doing that for is because I'm going to work the lighter color into it. And I want it to be just like a faint highlight. So now I'm going to come back with my lighter color. But let me show you how little paint I'm getting, you guys. I'm going to start out with just a tiny bit of paint. I don't need coverage. I just want to give myself some paint to work in for blending. I'm going to tip my brush again and just get a little bit more just so I can carry that same, just a super light amount of paint, guys. That's the key here. And you can see even just, I mean, I barely have brushed that in, and that's all the paint that I need. And now I can come back and work this paint in. Now I just want to blend it into the darker part around it, and it's just going to look like a highlight in my paint. That's it. It's just supposed to look like a little bit lighter version of my main body color. So I'm back with my brush from my darker mix. I don't have a name for it, you guys. I'm just going to call it the darker mix because it's two custom mix colors. I'm going to carry this down. This is my lighter brush. Just lightening this up a little bit. I'll brush horizontally and vertically, and I'm going to bring it down here a little tiny bit onto this drawer. I'm going to give myself a tiny bit more paint and bring it down here a little bit. Does the contrast even show on camera? Sometimes I can't tell, and it'll just look super faint. So because I barely put any paint on that brush, this brush is almost totally clean and dry, and I'm just using it as my clean, dry brush to work that little highlight of paint in. See how much I can brush? I can keep working this paint. I'm not pulling the paint underneath it, and I can keep working that paint I want to lighten this up a little bit. It got a little dark, so I just true it up a little bit by adding a little bit more paint. Very, very little, just tipping my brush in my paint.
Now the pressure you're using, just a light amount of pressure.
Super light hand. Very light hand. I want to lighten this up a little bit too, so I'm just going to add a little bit more paint. Just the tips of my brush are doing the work for me. I'm not putting pressure on this brush. If I need moisture, if it starts sticking, I just give water. I'm not adding a whole lot of paint on here. It's just water that's my moisture. So I like that better. Now I'm going to come back and work this color. And remember I told you guys, I might work the same spot a few times. So now I'm going to true up my darker color. I'm just slapping my brush at the surface. Like I can hear the sound that it makes, and I'm just feathering it over the surface.
Are you going to use any molds on this piece?
No, I'm not, because this is going to have a transfer on it. Oops. New brush. Getting brush hairs in here. I'm going to come and get this guy, which is an older one.
And, what are you trying to say?
And I'm using the, sometimes you just want an older brush. Have you seen that meme where it says to start dating older guys because they can get you into the grocery store early? No?
No.
Well, in your case, it wouldn't be the older guys.
Oh, man.
So now I'm using my oval medium, which is my clean, dry brush. And I just felt like there was a little line here that I could see in the light. And I'm going to let this top dry. I like that. I think it looks good.
So what transfers are you thinking about using?
This is going to be the Lush Floral transfer. I don't have it out with me, but it's got purple plum color flowers in it. It's really pretty. So now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to work in some Midnight Sky to the bottom of this. So I'm going to give myself on these legs where I plan to work this Midnight Sky in. I'm going to give myself a fresh coat of paint. And I want to work the Midnight Sky into here. So I'm basically using my piece like a palette almost to mix the color onto the piece. I just want the Midnight Sky to shade this plum color a little bit. So I'm going to give myself wet paint. So when I'm trying to work it up, I'm not working it into dry paint.
So why do you use the round brush?
It kind of is just it's like an eraser. It's like I'm feathering out. Oh, that did have some paint on it. Oh, it has my clear coat on it. That's what's on there. It just feathers out. See, I'm just lightly can brush through my paint without any pressure, and it just kind of feathers out any spots where I might see that my color is a little uneven.
So what are your colors one more time?
So my darker plum color here is a mix of Dixie Belle muscadine wine, aubergine, and tea rose. And then my lighter color, I just went heavier on the tea rose. So
you
this
don't get
color
any flack.
is Midnight Sky. This is what I'm working in. And I already have a little bit of my darker plum mix on here. And now I'm just going to work in very little paint, you guys. Very, very little paint. I'm just tipping the brush. So I'm using a pretty clean, dry brush. And then I can start shading this up into the body. And it mixes into that wet paint that I already had on here. I'm not going to go so far as to mix it into the lightest color, but I can go, I kind of want to get these corners on the drawers here. And just work it in so it creates an even darker plum color, just mixing that Midnight Sky in with that dark plum, and it looks like it's a darker purple color. Midnight Sky is a cool color, you guys. I really like it. I use it a lot for shading. It can lean so many different ways depending on what you put it next to. So I'm asking it to lean a little bit purpley by putting it on this piece. I actually have 2 of these vanities I'm working on right now.
Sorry. Tracy said it's like being brushed with angel wings.
Yes.
Sean, she's an angel, right? Yeah. Sure. We'll go with that.
That Tracy, like Tracy's Fancy Tracy?
No.
No? Okay. Gotta know these things. Yes, just like an angel.
Yeah, yeah.
Just a little angel.
Uh-huh.
He's such a lucky man. So, can you guys see the depth that I added there? I'm not sure I'm happy with this drawer right here. And this is what I'm talking about, where I could come back and work the same thing. So, let me show you what I would do. Is, now that I've got my blend down, I can pull this drawer out. And sometimes it helps me to see it in a different light. And now I can look at it from this angle and I can see the light hitting it a little differently. And that helps me tell, okay, I know where I need to keep my colors. I'll give myself a little bit more water. I'm going to freshen up my paint a little bit. I didn't add any paint. I'm just using whatever was on that brush.
So do you worry about cross-contamination on your brushes?
I do not. No, in fact, in this case, I'm not trying to keep the brushes clean. Because I'm trying to blend these colors. It's okay if my brushes get blended paint on them too. So I'm just truing up those colors a little bit. I wanted a little bit more contrast than what they had, and I can see it better in this angle. And then I'm going to feather out.
And to answer Beth's question, yes, I do realize how lucky I am.
Oh, guys.
Well, it's being recorded, so this could be used for evidence later.
Yeah. When we show up on a true crime series, good to know.
No, when I do.
Yeah, good to know.
You won't be there.
Okay, so this is just a really basic 2-color blend on here. What I will use to make this even more dramatic is once this dries and I put my clear on it, I will add a little bit of black wax just around the edges, and that looks like I've got even a 3rd tone in here. It makes this drawer more dramatic. So I'm going to actually leave this out, and I'm going to pull this one too. And I want to look at it in that different lighting angle. I feel better about this one. And then I can come back. I'm just kind of taking it back to ground zero now. But now that I know where I basically want my colors, and I'm going to work it from this angle.
Pam says that was almost sweet of me.
Yeah, almost.
So close.
You guys, Sean can play all he wants, but I'll tell you what, this guy gets me the sweetest cards ever. That's Sean's one superpower, is he can pick a card out like nobody I've ever met. He skips all the ones that have like Snoopy on it and stuff and gets me the good ones.
Well, it's because they're at the bottom of the stack.
Yeah.
They're returns.
You're looking for
I'm looking for the deal.
You just don't spend that much time digging.
Well, this is true.
So now I'm hitting this with just a little bit of the Midnight Sky, just darkening up these corners a little bit. But I like looking at it from this angle a little bit better. The light's hitting it better for me in my workspace, and I can see the contrast a little bit better. And I'll throw them back in the body, and you can see what I'm talking about. And then I'm feathering out my colors together. So you'll notice that I spend a little bit more time on this coat than I usually do on my base coat. You guys see me fly through a base coat. This one I'll spend more time on. Now I'm also going to blend around this drawer edge. Up here I'm going to put my lighter mix. And then on the edges I'll just blend in the darker mix, just so the drawer edge matches the drawer front. Probably going to do something fun with these drawers. And then I'm just going to take my clean dry brush and get rid of those marks where they meet up. And now it looks like my drawer edge matches my drawer front. Okay, that really helped me, I think, to see it from a different lighting angle, because now I can see my colors a little bit better. I don't like this one spot right here. But the clean dry brush just lets me work out those little spots I don't like as much.
Carmen says she's watched all of your YouTube videos.
I'm sorry.
You're the best.
And then I'm going to put this one back in too. Let's take a look at where we are.
So your wheeled casters that are on the furniture legs.
These are actually, so this is a vintage piece, and you know some vintage pieces have wheels on them. These belong to this furniture piece. I didn't add these wheels. So that's actually a luxury. I'm just using the furniture wheels that it's on. So when it's got them, I love it. I'm a happy girl. You guys want to come over and do the middle a little bit? I feel like I like where this is with my wax, and I'm going to put my transfer on here. Need to paint around the edges of the legs. You know what? Let's do the side. My top, you guys, is dry. I would put another coat on this. And this is what I'll do. I'll sit and work a couple things. I'll paint.
Just showing the wheels real quick on the piece.
Yeah, they're vintage furniture wheels. And I keep a stash of these too. So another thing you could do is if your furniture has holes for wheels but they're missing, you can put those wheels in. You can pop temporary wheels on there, and then you've got wheels while you're working on it. You can choose to take them back off again later, but a lot of pieces of this age have wheel holes in them. If you flip them up onto their back, you can just throw some wheels in there. So I'm going to come up here. My sponge is still damp. Now, one thing I do recommend is rinse your sponge out in between each coat. So I didn't do that here, but rinse your sponge out in between each coat, because your clear coat can start to set up inside your sponge and it'll start getting kind of yuck. So just after each coat, rinse your sponge out. You guys saw how fast that was. I don't have a super long time. This is satin clear coat. And I could even do, so I told you on a wood top, I'll usually do 4 to 5 coats, because this is raw wood, guys. A painted surface, you got to think that you've got the protection of the paint plus the existing finish underneath. This had nothing. I took it down to the raw wood, so it does take me a little bit more clear coat on raw wood tops. I'm going to create a streaky finish in this so I can show you guys. I can put 2 to 3 coats of satin and just do 2 coats of gator hide on top. It doesn't have to be all 5 of gator hide. So I like working with satin better, but I like the protection of the gator hide. So combine the two, put the gator hide on top, and you get that extra protection. So watch me create a streaky look. Okay, that wasn't very good. I needed to be more streaky. I'm going to try to get some really heavy spots to show you what you don't want. So you can see here, you get these lines in between your passes right here and here. You got to work those out. If you leave lines like this, they're going to dry. And that's going to give you a streaky finish. So thankfully with satin, I can brush over it a couple times. With gator hide, you really just want to do a single pass, maybe one more if possible, and leave it alone. But this has such a nice open time. And like I said, I'm doing this over wood, but you could do this over your painted finish too with the satin.
And what kind of sponge is that?
This is the Dixie Belle Applicator Sponge. It's the blue sponge. You can get these on the website. I put the link above in the post. You guys, Dixie Belle is still open and still shipping. They have not shut down Florida yet for a total stop on going to work. And Dixie Belle is a fairly small family-owned company, so they're there and they're still shipping for us, you guys. So you're stuck at home, go order your Dixie Belle.
Have you ever put satin on top of gator hide?
Yeah, you can do that too. They're water-based top coats, so they're interchangeable. Although if you do satin on top of gator hide, your top is going to be your satin finish. It's going to be, your protection is going to be underneath your satin. So if you're looking for that tougher clear coat, you want it to be on the top.
Oh yeah, Sheila, they're still making paint.
Still pumping it out up there. We just talked with them yesterday and I asked, and they have no intention, unless they tell Florida they all have to go home, and then they might operate on a skeleton crew, because it's, you know, husbands and wives in there. They can still go to work together if they needed to, but it would put it down to a skeleton crew. But right now they're all still there, you guys. Okay, so that is super smooth. That's 2 coats of clear that I just did. We've been on for about a half an hour. And I've got 2 coats of clear. Of the, you know, probably 5 I'll do on a wood stain top. So when I say 5, it sounds like a lot, but it really doesn't take me that much time. I'm going to run through this side with you really quick, and then we'll get off for tonight. I'm just going to turn this.
What's your paint?
One thing I'll say about these wheels, they're a little bit stubborn in turning. Their turning radius has decreased over the years. Pull my paint out of here. My 3 colors. Excuse me. And I have a brush under there still. Okay. So, once again, I already sanded this one. I'm going to add a little bit of water, which is not a little bit. I'm covering my surface because I'm going to brush through it all. I don't need this paint for coverage. I just need it to perfect my finish.
You ever tinted gator hide with the paint?
Yeah, you certainly can if you're doing it over a darker color.
And it doesn't mess with the durability?
No. You can. Now you're using, when you tint any of the products, you're using so little paint. You guys will be surprised. Put just a drop of gator hide in there. I'm sorry, of paint into your gator hide. You'll be shocked at how little paint it takes to tint. And you can tint all the products. You can tint the paint, you can tint the waxes, you can tint the clear coats, you can tint any number of things, and it takes very little paint. So, no, it doesn't affect the formulation of it because you're using so little paint. Add things whenever you're mixing like that, you want to add things slower instead of faster, because you can always add more, but you cannot take it away. So now I'm working in my lighter color highlight. I want to lighten this up just a little bit. Got a little muddy around the edges, and now I'll start working it in.
Are you using one of the minis?
Yes, this is with the mini. I'm going to come back with my oval medium in a minute. I need to turn this, you guys, because I can't see. I'm trying to work on an angle that I can't see on. This is my final coat. This is the coat that's going to stay on this piece. So I do want it to be kind of good. A little bit good. If you guys don't already go follow the paint cast with Brandy and Kristana. Me and Kristana just recorded a couple new paint casts. It's our podcast called Paint Cast.
Hello, Sheila. Wow. So MI's Michigan's on complete lockdown. Michigan
is?
Yeah. We'll leave it at that.
I mean, I don't know if it'll come to Florida. Dixville's in Florida. It could though, you guys. So if you need an order, go ahead and get your order in now. Just in case. Things have not been clearing up yet. We're not quite there. So I'm not saying I know anything at all, because I don't. But just in case.
It's just more time to hang out at home and get creative.
So this is my brush from my darker color, my darker mix, and I'm just working in this little highlight. I'm just going around the edges. I kind of created like this half circle shape. I've added nothing but the paint I put on in the very beginning. I got a little bit of paint up here on my clear coat, which I don't want. But that's part of why you want to clear coat your top before you start working the body. So I was just able to wipe that off with my hand really quick. And then I'm going to take my oval medium and just anywhere I see little brush strokes, I'm just going to feather them out. This one's kind of wonky. Like it must have dried in a weird shape. See, some of the bristles are fun. So I'm gonna, I'm dead to me. This one. I'll rewash that one and then and dry it right, because it's. So I'm just going over any little area that I see and smoothing it out. Like, I love my blends to be smooth, you guys. That's my bread and butter. Super smooth blends. I don't want to see those transitions. They are my pet peeve. And then down here, I'm going to come back. This is my midnight sky, and I'm just going to work in that little bit of midnight sky for some shading.
It's being confirmed. Wonky is a word.
That is a word? Okay, cool. Thank you. God, what would I do without you guys?
Oh, man. Wikipedia's got nothing. Nothing on you.
You guys look it up in Urban Dictionary? Because I don't think that
Pretty sure I would have got a longer explanation if that was the case.
Yeah, that's true. Those are a little more colorful. Okay.
Man, lockdown. It's like everybody needs to have a lockdown party.
I know. So what we're struggling with is we have our 3 kids home. So you'd think I'd be painting more. I'm actually painting less because my kids, you guys, have had 9 Zoom calls this week. 9. I only have 3 kids, mind you. I do not have 9 kids.
Worse than work.
Yes, we had to create a calendar to keep my children's Zoom calls with their teachers straight. So we're trying to keep up with that, keep them happy. So I'm actually painting less right now. Hopefully that will change. We'll see. I don't know. It's been a weird week. And then I'm just brushing this Midnight Sky. I'm using very little Midnight Sky. I'm using it more for shading than, I don't want the actual true color of the Midnight Sky. I just want it to darken up the plum that I put on the body a little bit. So I like that. And same thing, I'm just going to brush through, just feather through any spots I see. And I can always let this dry, and it happens that I will let it dry and then I'll see spots that I don't like and I'll come back and just redo the side again. It doesn't take that long. As I wipe this with my hand, I'm going to put a new clear coat right on this side right here.
Deborah says she's been on self-quarantine. This is day 13. She's getting a lot done.
You're on self-quarantine? Nobody even told you you had to? You just chose to go home and not talk to anyone? Here's my extra tip for you guys. I've been able to go online at different times throughout the day. Not Costco. Costco's, forget about it. Everything's not available. Sorry, Fireball June. You guys have nothing available online. But Sam's Club, throughout the day, will just put stuff up online. I was able to get toilet paper, paper towels, baby wipes, Kleenex.
And nothing crazy, by the way.
No, we're not stockpiling, but I have a house of 5 people. So we, go through toilet paper faster than, say a house of 2. Like way faster. I keep baby wipes on hand all the time. They're in my car. They're around the house. If the kids spill something, they can wipe it up with a baby wipe and it won't be sticky. We use all this stuff. Kleenex. My kids have had colds. But go on at different times throughout the day and just check all the brands of paper towels, and one will be available, and you can load it in your cart and they ship it. So I've been able to get stuff just going online throughout the day and not having to go out to the store for any more than like milk and eggs I have to go out for. So I'm going to finish working my way across this piece, but I'm already a little less than halfway done with my paint finish. And I think it looks beautiful. It's drying really pretty.
Really quick, what's the name of your paint cast?
Paint Cast.
Yeah,
It's a podcast called the Paint Cast with Brandy and Kristana. We are on Facebook and Instagram. And it's a brand new idea, you guys. We're just starting out, so we're starting to delve into some topics now. At first, we did introductions to ourselves and our businesses, so you can get to know us a little bit better. It is on Spotify. It is on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and we post it there when the new ones are up. So the new ones we just recorded today will get edited, and then they'll get posted up there. And we talked about some cool topics. So I hope you guys learned something. I hope you did. I have some other stuff I'm working on too that I want to share with you guys. I want to share with you guys how to make these sunflower molds.
So a question that came up earlier, quite a while ago, so I apologize for bringing it up now. Do you remember the name of the mold that you had that made the bumblebees?
Oh, yeah. Somebody asked me that today. Yeah, it's called, is it Royal Emblems? Hang on.
See, we'll get there. I'm a little slow, so.
I think it's Royal Emblems, but let me look. I only have 5,000 molds to look through. This shouldn't take more than an hour.
Sheila said she accidentally bought single ply.
Perfect.
I mean, there's cardboard boxes you can use too,
Yeah,
but
single ply.
We don't judge.
So the only thing I think of is like when you go to any public place, like a park or a beach, they always have single ply. So you could always donate it to your local
Here, I'm
public
gonna swing
parks.
this way. Can I show this?
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah, I posted this one today. Ignore this one next to it. I've got a lot of stuff out here. My customers are having a harder time picking up. One of them's a nurse and she's working all the time. So I've got a lot out here right now. Royalty. See the bees on there? They're a little bit bigger than the, there's another one called Royal Emblems, I think. And these guys are a little bit bigger. It's just called Royalty. If you go to my page.
And they're drop tested.
If you go to my page, I have a post pinned to the top of Brushed by Brandy, and that has a link in it. That post pinned to the top for where to get redesigned with Prima products. And this will be in there. Royalty. That's it. All right, you guys. My top, I've already got 2 coats on. This one's pretty dry too. See how quick I can lay them on? I'm quick. Go be safe, stay home, get better if you're not feeling good, and keep watching us paint. We will keep coming on painting. So order your Dixie Belle now if you guys need something. My link is above in the post. A lot of your retailers, you guys, your Dixie Belle shops that carry the paint, a lot of them are shipping, and a lot of them are doing curbside pickup too. So if you've got a favorite retailer, email them, call them, and most of them will meet you at the shop if you need to pick up something, and they'll do curbside pickups. Run it out to your car. You can pay by Venmo. Really easy. So they are working with you guys. If you need something, your retailers are there for you too.
They'll throw it at you as you're driving by.
They'll throw it into your car window. They have really good aim. All right. Have a great week. I will see you guys next Thursday. Thank you.